Okay. Good evening, Sister Links, and welcome to tonight's webinar as we present using technology and communications effectively for chapter operations. I am Link Leah Watson, your Eastern Area Communications Chair, and I am pleased to introduce my dear sister Link, Aurelia Williams, your Eastern Area Technology Chair, and we will both serve as co-moderators for this webinar. We are excited to present this evening information that we hope will support the strategic goals of your respective chapters. Chapter leaders are finding themselves with a new level of responsibility to keep their members encouraged, informed, and safe during this pandemic. Much of how they meet that responsibility involves how they decide to communicate everything from chapter meetings, virtual elections, and key information that can help chapters continue to feel linked in friendship and connected in service. This evening, we are hosting 267 registered members. The attendance number speaks to the shared desire to do all we can in Linkdom to effectively communicate and use technology to support our program and operational objectives. We truly appreciate your enthusiasm for this subject matter. At this time, I hand off to Link Aurelia.
Good evening, Link Sisters. Thank you, Link Leah. I would like to echo the welcome to our webinar. We hope that you will find this information helpful and the webinar engaging. The webinar will be recorded for playback on demand, and it will be added to our YouTube channel and our website. You may insert questions to the question panel on the GoToWebinar software. Questions will be answered at the conclusion of our presentation. So let's go over a few rules of engagement. First, you will participate. So please get comfortable with access to your keyboard so that you are able to respond to our polling questions. So let's try one now. You should see a question pop up on your screen to help us know who we are speaking to. Please indicate if you are a communications or public relations chair, a technology chair, a chapter president, or you just wanted to join us tonight. We are definitely happy to have all of you. And if you're one of our very engaged Link Sisters and happen to fill all of those roles, please check every box that is applicable to you. Wow, look at those results. Thank you all for participating. As you see, 60% of you do not hold those offices that we were engaged looking to join us, but we're glad to have you. Thank you for participating in the poll, and there will be more to come. Now that we know how to participate in the polling, let me introduce you to our wonderful presenters. Tonight, you've already met Link Leah Watson, our Eastern Area Communications Chairman. We also have Link Leslie Horton Campbell, our Eastern Area Communications Co-Chair. I am Linkarelia Williams, our Eastern Area Technology Chair. We have Link Kristen Barr, our Eastern Area Technology Co-Chair. Link Pamela Chu Williams, our Social Media Co-Chair. And Link Katura Figueroa, our Social Media Co-Chair. Thank you, ladies. On behalf of our Eastern Area Director, Link Shawana Tucker Sims, we extend greetings. She unfortunately has had an unexpected matter to arise, therefore she is unable to be with us in person. She wanted us to convey that we must embrace technology and digital communications as we continue to do the work of the mighty Eastern Area. Link Leah?
Thank you. At this time, you will see the agenda listed on your screen. We will have a technology presentation this evening, a communications presentation, a presentation on the Friendship Chains newsletter, social media presentation to cover many facets of what we do on our social media channels. And we will have a virtual meeting best practice by myself and Link Aurelia. And of course, we are taking opportunity to give you a chance to have questions and answers at the conclusion of our presentations. But at this time, go ahead.
Link Sisters, so here we are in the midst of a pandemic, and we must rely on the internet and distributed methods of sharing, communication, and execution of our chapter, area, and national priorities. We have members with varying experiences and equipment, but we want everyone to feel included. Our goal tonight is to offer a few strategies to help you embrace our legacy and cultivate our future virtually. As our 44th president stated, Barack Hussein Obama, the internet is not a luxury. It is indeed a necessity. The internet provides cloud storage, which is a way to privately save information to the web. Thus, it requires internet access. Cloud storage allows you to access your files and programs from any computer or mobile device anywhere in the world. Therefore, alleviating the need to have additional storage space at home, the need to carry external hard drives or USBs with you, and you can even share files online for collaboration between chapter members. Why is that important? As the technology chairman of your chapter, you should be prepared to provide strategic direction to your chapter president and chairman on the effective utilization of technology to increase communication and connection throughout our membership. You should be prepared to address technology issues throughout the chapter. You should also work closely with your communications or public relations chair. And you should be willing to learn new software, investigate existing software, but most importantly, you should be willing to support your Link sisters. Often invoking the patience of Job. So investing in technology resources should be carefully considered. It is recommended to opt for trial software packages before committing to an investment. Trial software will allow you to test how the software will work for your chapter's needs. As shown on the screen, here are a few no-cost and low-cost solutions to help meet your technology needs. We may all be familiar with Microsoft Office 365 that includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and even OneDrive. And we may also be familiar with Google's G Suite solution that has comparable software applications that allow us to perform word processing, presentation, and spreadsheet activities. However, as the technology or the communications chair, You might have to create events, program flyers, or even chapter announcements. And if you are like me, you might need a little help in the graphical design department. So I introduce to you Canva. Canva is a free tool located online at www.canva.com. And once you create an online account, you will have access to create graphics for many platforms, including web and print media. You can create graphics for specific social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and even a Snapchat geofilter. There is also a paid version of Canva that allows you to automatically resize for various platforms, among other features. Canva is mobile friendly and available on both Android and Apple applications. Canva uses drag and drop features, comes with a number of built-in elements and templates, and even allows you to upload your own pictures, making it all very easy to use. Now that we have been thrust into having virtual meetings, I introduced Zoom, which is a web conferencing tool that offers free and paid plans. Participants can join a meeting for free from their phone, desktop, mobile, and tablet devices, and a Zoom account is not required to join a conference. A free account with Zoom allows conferences for up to 100 participants, unlimited one-to-one conferences, and even group collaboration features such as whiteboarding and screen sharing. The one pitfall with Zoom is that conferences with multiple participants are limited to a 40-minute window in the free version. The Pro version offers a more robust video conferencing experience at a cost of $14.99 a month. Pro offers all the features of the free version plus unlimited meeting duration and all meeting sizes. Account owners and admins can add, delete, and assign roles and even add on features. The reporting component allows usage reports such as the number of meetings taking place in your chapter, dates, the number of participants, the number of meeting minutes, and more. All of those things can be used to validate engagement of chapter members. Finally, do you find the use of paper records daunting and often incomplete? Well, our last tool that I'm sharing provides options for online attendance tracking that saves time and headaches. Track It Forward is a web-based tool located at www.trackitforward.com. It has a mobile companion app that works on both Apple and Android devices. And it's unique because the manager or chairman creates the events. Our link sisters simply enter our hours spent on available events and then log our attendance. The chairman will validate the attendance, giving instant recognition of the time devoted to chapter activities. The best feature of Track It Forward is that anyone can export their approved hours to verify their eligibility. Track It Forward is free for up to 25 users and offers pay options with customizable pricing up to 500 members. All right, now we're going to have another poll. Are you ready? On the screen, Link Sisters, you see a question. Do you have an active chapter website? Please indicate yes or no, or if you don't know, you can do that as well. Okay, so I'm going to close the poll with 81% of you who have voted and share our results. 80% of you who voted say yes, you have a chapter website, 18% no, and 2 are not quite sure. So at this time, I'm going to have Kristen come forward to discuss websites.
Thank you, Link Aurelia, and good evening, Sister Links. As you can see from the polling question, I am going to start with the topic of chapter website management. So we saw a mixture of responses from the poll question, and that's quite all right. Even if you don't know, we're here to offer support and advisement on next steps for your chapter website. And the slide that you see here, regardless of where you are in the process, lists 6 steps that apply in all scenarios for an initial build of a new website or a redesign of an existing website, as well as tips that are helpful for ongoing maintenance of your website. Number 1 is to define a vision, where you set goals and objectives. Essentially, what are you trying to achieve with the website? And that starts with understanding your target audience and gearing content to that audience accordingly. So first you have your chapter members, of course, where you want it to be a useful communication and management tool for them. And you also have non-members where you want to inform them about the links incorporated and your chapter's purpose in the community. You will have potential sponsors and partners who will come to your website to understand what you're all about. And that leads into content. There should be a nice blend of content that is informational as well as action oriented. So let's take pictures for an example. We are a beautiful group of ladies, and when we get all dressed up and take pose pictures, we look amazing. And those are great to display on the site, but we want to make sure that it's balanced with showcasing our service-oriented efforts and hands-on impact in the community. Lastly, we want to ensure that the vision is aligned with branding guidelines set by National, which can be found in the One Voice reference guide. Number 2, design. So this is where you can get really creative when identifying the functionality you would like and determine the elements you want displayed, how you want them displayed, and essentially the overall look and feel of the site. The great thing is that there are thousands of templates out there to choose from. I remember when you had to code a website from scratch, and so thankfully that is no longer the case nowadays. In the design, you want to make sure that the layout is user-friendly, it's very clean and polished, and that the display is a good balance of text with graphics, visuals, and other interactive elements. Then you want to identify the type of technical platform to use. There are full service platforms that are geared for clubs and associations, and that is like the Bentley with all the bells and whistles. They have end-to-end built-in features for everything such as event management, financial management, member management, etc. And those are great. However, they are more expensive. So as we weigh cost versus allocated budget, the most practical recommendation is a do-it-yourself or DIY website builder. And there are several robust website builders out there that are affordable and can still meet your desired features. And I'll show some examples of both types on the next slide. Number 3, oh, sorry. Can you go back one? Thanks. Number 3 and number 4 go hand in hand, where chapter budgets and technical skill sets are key drivers in determining the platform you choose, along with the approach you take to develop your website. So the question is there a chapter member that has the technical know-how and the time to build the site end to end? If yes, then great, that is one option. The other end of the spectrum is to hire a professional web developer or webmaster to handle it all. And so that's option number 2. Option 3 is a blend of both. And that is really the ideal recommendation, where a web developer with the technical expertise to handle advanced functions and some of the nuances that come with these platforms works with the technology and communications committees as a team in order to get the site built. And also, you want to establish a schedule and implementation approach to define the scope to be delivered on a set timeline and determine how you want to manage each phase of the rollout. Number 5, so now you've done all this hard work, your site is up and running, it looks great, you're celebrating, and now it has to be maintained. So it's important that the site stays accurate and up to date, and the comms and tech committees have to work closely together to establish roles and responsibilities along with a process for how the site should be maintained. The last step is enhance. Periodically, you want to evaluate and assess your site to determine if the desired outcomes from the vision you set in step number 1 are being met. Then, based on that assessment, you can decide how the site can be improved, what additional functions are needed, and then implement enhancements accordingly. So in summary, these steps cover the life cycle of the website development process, and steps 1 through 4 don't necessarily have to be done sequentially, as a lot of the items overlap. And really, to be most efficient, those steps can be done somewhat concurrently in an agile fashion. Next slide, please. So as stated, here are some common platforms to use. When choosing a platform, you want to consider ease of use and level of complexity, and that is both from a development and maintenance perspective. And you want to ensure that it has design flexibility and provides your desired features and value for the cost. So for example, the Eastern Area website is on the Wix platform. And as another example, my chapter website, the Annapolis, Maryland chapter website, is on the WordPress platform. And before that, it was on Weebly. So there are several options to choose from. Next slide, please. Or I believe it's time for another poll question. Have you created your members only profile on the Eastern Area website? Yes or no? Okay. Few more seconds here.
All right, Link
Okay.
Kristen.
Are we ready for results? Yes, Link Aurelia?
I was just going to share that 74% of our attendees voted, and here are your
Okay.
results.
Wonderful. Okay. So 42% are yes and 58% no. So that's great. It's great to see that several of you have already done so. And for those that have not, on the next slide, I will cover the steps in which to sign up. So first, just as a reminder, please visit the Eastern Area website, which is located at ealinks.org, and visit as often as you can, and you will see updated information on a variety of topics. And the second reminder is to sign up to access the members only area for those that have not yet done so. The instructions are pretty intuitive and they are included here on the screen. The first step is to click on the member sign up login link, and that's located on the top header of the website on the home page all the way to the right. And from there, the steps are pretty intuitive. You are going to get a screen where it's going to ask if you're already signed up, and if so, you would log in accordingly. But if you have not, you're going to click on the login located below the sign up button and log in with an email. From there, you're going to get another screen where you will enter your name, your chapter, your email address, and a password that you will create. And make sure that you save that information because that will be the email and the password to be used for your login. And then that is sent to us, to Link Aurelia and myself. And once your member account is approved, you will receive a notification email. And then from there, you can simply go back to that same member login and setup link and log in accordingly using the email and the password that you created. And from there, there is a document library, and that is the main feature in the members only area right now. We are continuing to build it out, but there you can access various facet toolkits and other information that is helpful to you as a member. And then to log out, you simply click the log out button. And if you have any questions or issues on that, we are here to help support, and you can contact us at any time if help is needed. So thank you, and I will pass it back over to Link Leah.
Thank you, Link Kristen. At this time, we're going to talk about communications. I absolutely love quotes, and this particular quote inspires me to take action and great care as your Eastern Area Communications Chair, and more importantly, as your Link sister. Friendship requires great communication. Next slide. In our chapters in the Eastern area, some chapters have a communications chair and others have a public relations chair. The same functionalities and responsibilities apply to both. We're looking for the communications public relations chair to work with each chapter officer and committee members to ensure that we're publicizing the good work that we're doing in our chapters. And that gives us, the public as well as members, an overall image of what we do and how we can continue to serve our respective areas. The chair also works with the chapter with other associations to increase public awareness. We know how wonderful we are and the good work that we do, but we want the community to know. We also want our potential corporate sponsors to know. So it's important that we look and leverage local media, whether it's TV, online publications, or outlets. We want you to prepare and edit articles and pictures for the newsletter. And you will hear about the Friendship Chains newsletter and how it's a very convenient tool to allow chapters to use that forum to publicize their events. And the communications chair will develop, modify, and execute social media campaigns for the promotion of chapter programs and local events and member accomplishments. All this are the responsibilities of the communications chair. All of this is important for you to know that the president is still the official representative of your respective chapter. And it's important that you confer with the president to get the direction on the responsibilities and the things that she would like to be seen on social media, as well as in print and TV. Thanks. I just want to highlight a couple of key best practices that you should consider as a communications public relations chair. Create a chapter stationery and a press release template. It's always important to communicate a professional and polished look. As I mentioned, look for online periodicals and develop relationships with your local media for event promotion. Make sure for every event that you have, you capture your guests, whether they are members of our organization or they are from our community. And of course, you hear this thread throughout our presentation. It's important that you work closely with the technology committee to update not only the website, but to support on social media and other things that the chapter may want to do as far as communication and technology is concerned. And you may want to consider having your own chapter newsletter, which you can put on your chapter website. Thank you. You want to look for, also it's important to look for chapter members for your public relations committee who can post, create, and share on social media. All members must have a desire and access to do so. That is a critical part of being a part of the public relations committee. I think it's important that you set numeric goals for your Facebook and Instagram for each fiscal year, because that supports your strategic plan in that particular area. Create a calendar of postings for federal holidays, anniversaries, and special events. And planning ahead is always a good thing because it can ensure that you have effective and timely communications. And we, with the Eastern area, we have our Eastern area Facebook and Instagram, and you'll hear about that more. But you don't have to duplicate effort. You can always share the things that we put on our channels. And last, encourage our members to follow the social media channels. The more likes that they have, the more people will be interested, and it's a really good thing to promote our wonderful organization. At this time, we will go into our friendship chain, and Leslie will present.
Good evening, Sister Links. I am Leslie Horton Campbell, your Eastern Area Communications Co-Chair, and it has been. Can you hear me? Okay, sorry, I thought I was muted. It has been my distinct privilege and honor to create for you all and with our team the bi-monthly newsletter for the Eastern Area known as Friendships Chain. And so thus far, we have created 6 issues, having launched the newsletter just last year under the leadership of our Madam Area Director. And to the extent that really what you all should see, and we hope that you all feel, is that really our mission is to capture all of the great work that you all are doing. It really is a reflection of you all, the mighty East. And so I thought it might be helpful to really help provide a little guidance for anyone who might be interested in submitting for the features that we have within the newsletter each bi-monthly issue, where we feature, again, chapter highlights. And really those highlights are all about chapter programming. So to the extent that we want to make sure that we align the features with the things that you see going on at the area level, whether it be our focus when we were focused on the census, or our programming when we're focused on ITS or NTS. We really want to make sure that we continue to reflect the great work that you all are doing. And so next slide, please. To that end, again, as I mentioned, we do publish on a bi-monthly schedule. And so submissions for an issue, we expect them to be received a month ahead prior to the publication deadline. So for example, you all hopefully all received our May issue, which just came out a few weeks ago, and we are gearing up in just a few days for the July issue. And so if you are interested in submitting, again, the deadline for the next one, the next issue is June 1st, I should say, in just a couple of days. But you can certainly catch the next issue if you are interested. And so please do keep that in mind. If you ever have submissions that you think are timely, and that, for example, if you know that you want something to be shown regarding your chapter for an issue that's coming out around the holidays, then again, please do make sure that you get that to us a month prior to our publication deadline. And so let's move into just a few guidelines, because again, we want to make sure that we can include as many of you all as possible in our issues, because we are subject to space constraints. And so in order to help us do that, the more that you all help us help you in terms of complying with these guidelines, it allows us to more easily include as many submissions as possible within our pages. And so I'll quickly go through just a few key things to keep in mind when you are considering what you would like to submit. One, make sure that you're submitting in Word format only. I know sometimes we've received submissions in PDF, but because we do have to go in and edit and tweak, because again, as you all have hopefully seen, the content, we all try to keep it with some level of uniformity. And so if you send us something in PDF, we then have to try to convert it so that we can then edit and extract the information, edit, tweak it as needed. In addition to, again, enable us to make sure that we can capture as much of your original content as possible, please stick with the size 11 font, Times New Roman, 250 words max. Sometimes we do get submissions or have received submissions that may be over a page. And unfortunately, when that happens, because again, we do want to accommodate as many of you as possible, that means that we will be forced to edit. And I know certainly our team here, when we work together to edit these submissions, we certainly don't want to have to cut out something that may have been an important piece of information to you. And so you can certainly make our jobs easier if you really keep it concise and within that word limit, so that we don't have to at least edit out any of the content. To that end, also with respect to photos, again, we want to include as many photos of your chapter and your members as possible. And so to help us do that, again, I ask that you submit your photos in JPEG format. And so what that means is that sometimes people will submit a submission Word document, or it's a PDF, and photos are already embedded. Well, again, that just means that we have to then try to reverse engineer to pull apart the pieces. So if you just send us the photo files separately, and I have the original image, it's a lot more clear on our end in terms of making sure that we can capture the full beauty of you and your chapter members. So no blurry photos, high resolution, JPEG format for photos, please. Also, I believe this was mentioned earlier by Link Kristen as it pertains to websites, and the same applies certainly for our newsletter, which is that while sort of static photos of your chapter members posing all together are certainly nice and beautiful, we really love to see the action photos. I mean, if you think about what photos capture your attention when you're reading the newsletter, I can bet that they're probably the photos where you really see chapter members in action, serving their community, especially because these chapter highlights are really all about the programming and the work that you all are doing. So that's what we would ask that you really try to focus on sending us when you do provide us with your submissions and photos. Next slide, please. Okay. Oh, sorry, one slide back. Thank you. Along with that submission, please make sure that you have included your chapter's name and your chapter president's name. I have had one instance where we received a submission that only had the chapter's name, but not the chapter president's. And unfortunately, when I went to try to quickly say, oh, let me just find it on the chapter's website, it wasn't on the chapter's website either. So it took a little digging around. Finally, we found it. But all of that to say, we want to make sure that we are properly attributing your chapter president to the chapter. So please help us in that regard by making sure that you include all of the information. Again, just to make sure that we are managing expectations when you submit your content, just do know that there will be some level of editing, again, just to make it all consistent with our One Voice manual. Also, sometimes for spacing constraints, we may have to tweak a little bit here and there. And so again, the more that you all comply with the spacing and the font size on the front end, the least likely we are to have to make any of those edits or tweaks. So don't be alarmed or surprised if you ever see that the wording or something may have been tweaked a bit when you see the final version. And one thing I should also note is that sometimes we receive submissions where someone has taken it upon themselves to take the initiative to try to design something. And so I want to hopefully make this a lot easier for you all by telling you, you don't have to design anything. Literally, you can send us your typed out paragraph and a photo attachment, because again, as you all have seen, I will work to make sure that all of the pages are consistently designed. And so no need for you all to spend any time trying to make it look pretty, because really the more simple that you keep your submission, the easier it is to actually work with it on the back end. So hopefully that takes some of the pressure off, because I do know that people sometimes have spent time really trying to give us a nice design and it's just not necessary. And so last but not least, to the extent that, again, we want you to continue to submit all of these great submissions that you all have been diligent about sending us. And if you haven't sent one yet, please make sure you do. They can all be sent to ealinkscommunications@gmail.com. We take submissions all the time. So even if you're ahead of the game and you aren't sure when the next one is, just send it in and we will get it into the next issue. And certainly if you have any questions, you can always send questions to this email address as well. And so again, we are so happy to be serving you all and featuring you all and all of the great work that you all are doing in Friendships Chain. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you for all the beautiful work that you do with the Friendships Chains newsletter. I can't say it. Friendship Chain newsletter. Thank you so much. Well, Link Sisters, you know what time it is, right? It is polling time. We have another poll for you. Ready? Okay. The question is, have you liked, followed the Easton area social media sites, which are Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube? Please select one. Okay, and the results, 67% said yes and 33% said no. Well, we certainly want to increase our participation in the Eastern area social media sites, and it is my pleasure to introduce two wonderful Link sisters that are going to help you out with that. So at this time, I'm bringing forward Link Pamela Chu Williams and Link Katura Figuera, our Eastern area social media co-chairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Link Leah. I'm Link Pamela Chu Williams, and it's been a delight to serve as your Eastern Area Social Media Co-Chair. It's been a labor of love. And so we know our members and chapters are busy with friendship and service activities, and very similar to the Friendships Chain newsletter, we want to hear about you and what you are doing. So in taking a look at social media submission guidelines, we're going to go through all of these guidelines so that we can promote your activities. So first, looking at topic and caption information. This may seem pretty much like common sense, but occasionally we do receive submissions that may just be a flyer with a note, please submit, or please post. So we do, ask that you have somewhat of a caption. And in this era of COVID-19, this is actually becoming more important, as you may have a link to an event. So it is, especially important to include that link to an event because it's really helpful to the reader. And we just want you to be mindful of that. Certainly, we want you to include the date of the event, but it's not required. If you don't have the exact date, please try to reference a time frame. Not every submission is always, we don't receive every submission on the exact day that it occurs. Some submissions are presented maybe a week later or what have you, and that's fine. So it's just important to reference a time frame. Please also include names. So if you, obviously folks are associated with the event, so we want to appropriately reference names and include the correct title. People work hard for their titles and their degrees and whatnot, and so we would like to honor that. And we also want to properly reference our members and correctly give titles. And include chapter name and location. Also include the hashtags for the post. So whether it's links related or an activity related, and if your activity includes, you may have a partnership, please just include appropriate hashtags. That's always very helpful. Just as Leslie was referencing about the photos, we need photos to be of appropriate quality, so please submit photos in JPEG format, and if they're blurry, we will correspond back with you about the quality of the image. And then please include your chapter's Instagram name and or Facebook page name. And for those chapters that don't have Instagram or Facebook pages, that's fine as well. We certainly will also promote your activity or what have you. And Leslie did just give the email address, but again, just to reiterate, it is ealinkscommunications@gmail.com. Okay, so moving along, next I want to share with you a few examples of some recent submissions. So here we see the Philadelphia chapter highlighting one of their significant impacts on the local community. This is in response to COVID-19, and here we see that they have partnered with the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium and donated over $13,000 to help the local community in increasing testing. And so their submission, we just wanted to sort of highlight this one because they provided topic and caption. It was nicely summarized. This submission actually came in on the date of the event. And so in terms of names, we see obviously the chapter name, and they've cited the chapter president. And we have relevant hashtags here, links related hashtags, as well as COVID-19, so related to the actual topic, as well as hashtag with relevant to the partner, their partner. And the chapter also provided a good quality photo, and it is an action photo. Again, something that Link Leslie spoke of. All right, so let's move along. Next slide. And we are highlighting another example of a chapter's recent submission, and this is the Mount Rose, Maryland chapter. Again, this is another highlight of a COVID-19 response, and this is an activity that they recently participated in, and this is one where they worked with the local social services department to present COVID-19 survival kits for college students as part of their Linked for Success program. And this is actually in conjunction with the Health and Human Services facet. So again, we see here that the topic and caption information is clear and concise. We have their chapter name, members' names and titles, as well as their service partner's name and her role. Also, I just want to add, in this Eastern Area Communications role and social media role that we play, we do also fact check, which is interesting because this is in the news now with Twitter and whatnot. But, you know, we do have a responsibility as well, and we represent the Links Incorporated and the Eastern area. And so when we do see, we receive submissions and there are partners involved and there are names and other organizations and whatnot, we just want to make sure that we are as accurate as possible with how we are representing ourselves and names and whatnot. And so in terms of fact checking, we just want to make sure we're representing and listing everything as correctly as possible. But getting back to Mount Rose, we see that they have appropriate hashtags and a nice photo as well, another action photo. So that was a nice submission from Mount Rose chapter. Okay, moving on. Next slide, please. And here we wanted to highlight one of our favorite social media features, and this is Links on the Move. This is where we showcase our talented members who are making personal and professional achievements. And we love hearing from you. We are proud to share your awards, your achievements, appointments, being named commencement speakers, and what have you. So we encourage you to submit and tell us about all of your accomplishments. So, you know, we want to applaud you. So again, here we want, you know, we ask that you would submit your chapter, your chapter's name, your name, the award, the date, the description, so on and so forth. Here in this example, we have our Link sister, Anna Blackburn Rigsby, and you see the chapter name, the award. We do ask that you submit a date or a time frame again, and the description. In this case, there was a link to an article about the award. So this summary here was just shortened to the point, and there is, let me see. Oh, and the photo. So for Links on the Move, we do ask for a photo. A headshot is preferred, but is not required. And many times we also receive pictures of an award ceremony, so the actual award that's being received. So that is welcomed as well. And that is Links on the Move. All right, thank you. I'll turn it over to my co-chair, Link Katora.
Thank you, Link Pam. Good evening, Link Sisters. My name is Link Katora Figuera, and I am so excited to be presenting to you the updates for social media. So one of the very first things that we want to do in terms of best practices is to create a separate social media email account. This will allow for seamless transitions between leaderships. So an example would be your chapter name, and then your chapter name social media at gmail.com would be a perfect one. And your passwords can be shared as you move on and transition. So I know a lot of you are upcoming and coming in as new officers, and so it would be great to be able to have that information shared directly to you. The next thing is just to ensure that your chapter has a Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter page. In this day and age, we want to ensure that you have that digital platform for your chapter and that you're able to highlight the different things that your chapter is doing within the community. It is very important to make sure that we're sharing our service and be able to get the information out to the community in which we serve. Another thing that we want to ensure is that you have a social media co-chair, not necessarily having an actual co-chair, but ensuring that your co-chair reviews different posts, not only for grammatical errors or spelling, but to also ensure the content is correct. Another helpful best practice is notification use. It would be a good idea to have your social media accounts on your actual personal cell phone. This will allow for you to be able to capture events and things that your chapter is doing in real time and be able to share. A lot of people have their own personal accounts as well, and you can take your personal account and also include it with your chapter account, so you're easily able to toggle between the two. Next, you want to connect your Instagram and Facebook accounts. This is like one of my favorite features that we're able to do, where you're able to post on Instagram and directly have it go to Facebook. This allows for ease of posting, and you can only have to do one post. If for some reason you don't want it to go to Facebook, you don't have to. There's an option where you're able to toggle in between the two, and this is a good feature that we suggest. Next slide. So helpful tools. Well, moving on to tools now. So these are two tools that we want to highlight that are helpful to use. The first one is SquareFit. This, if you've ever seen a photo where you've seen someone's head cut off, or there was a lot of people in the picture and you weren't able to see everyone, this is a very good app that you can use that will allow for the photo to be squared exactly how you want it to be, especially if you're adding multiple photos in one post. So SquareFit is one of the good tools that we act. It's a free tool that you can download directly in the App Store, and that is a good tool to use. The next one is the Repost for Instagram app. There's a lot of times where the Eastern area, like Link Leah said, we make a lot of posts. So there's a holiday and you haven't made a post, we suggest that you repost our apps and repost our post, and you can do that through the Repost app. These are both tools that are free that we suggest that you download for your chapter use. All right, so now Linkarillia is going to have some polling time.
In the interest of time, we're going to hold off on that poll so you can go right into the next slide.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I didn't know. Okay, so next thing we want you guys to do is to follow us. So it's so interesting. We just said how many people are following us on social media, and I saw on my phone some alerts of people who actually started following us during this webinar. So we appreciate that. We want you to use the hashtags. Please engage with us when your chapter does great things. Please use the hashtags EA Links Inc. Use the hashtags Embrace and Cultivate, EA Proud, Links on the Move. Please use all of them. Also wanted to highlight to please follow us also on our YouTube page for the EA Links technology, and that's what you can use in the search. We appreciate you all for following and engaging with us in social media.
Thank you so much, Links, Katora and Pamela. Our final presentation is near and dear to my heart and to Link Aurelia. As we know, Sister Links, we are all Zoom fatigued. But we believe it's not just because of the frequency of the meetings. Sometimes it's because of the hosting as well as the participation in these meetings. And we feel if we were more effective in those communication and technology nuances, we won't be so tired. So we're going to do very quickly the top 10 that we've selected from a communications and technology position. Link Aurelia.
All right, Link Sisters, we've all experienced good and bad virtual meetings, but here we're going to share our tips from a technology perspective. Number one, choose the right remote tools for your needs. A conference call versus a virtual meeting. We all know the difference. A virtual meeting allows you to see one another, our beautiful faces. So if that is needed, then you need to select a tool that is going to allow you to do that. If you plan to host a virtual meeting, please practice in advance to ensure you know how to mute, you know how to screen share, you are aware of your time. Number three, be sure to follow the directions of the host, especially as it relates to like a chat feature. For example, on this call, we asked you to enter questions through the questions box. So hopefully you're not entering statements in our chat box because it's not monitored. So you want to make sure that you follow the rules of the host. Number four, join the meeting 3 to 5 minutes early to ensure that you can all connect successfully. Do your last minute checks for audio and visual appearance and all of that. Number five, mute your microphone when you are not speaking. As quiet as we believe we are, our microphones are picking up every little thing. So we want to mute our microphones so that we're not distracting from the person who is speaking. You want to be sure to speak clearly so that all participants can understand you. Stay focused and minimize your multitasking during the call. We can see what you're doing and what you're not doing when you're on the call. If you are a presenter, please have your video turned on. People want to see you when you are speaking to them. And pay attention to your environment, ringtones, music, which are within your control. Be sure to silence those devices. And number 10, again, Link Sisters, mute your microphone when you are not speaking.
From a communications perspective, remember, face-to-face business meeting rules still apply. Have an agenda and share your meeting documents in advance so that all members are prepared to join the call. Be courteous to all call members. Remember, this is a new time. And what I said earlier, friendship requires great communication and also great patience. So the host, please be conscious of that. Number 3, manage the meeting time. If possible, prepare an agenda for just 1.5 hours max. For health and safety reasons, even, we want to make sure that we're not having people sit in a chair in a certain position for long periods of time. They may have to take comfort breaks. So we want to just make sure we maximize the time effectively, no more than 1.5 hours. Select the meeting space, which is not distracting. Everything is visual. So we want to make sure we create a space that is pleasing, not only to ourselves, but to those who are watching. Communicate to your household that you're attending a meeting. We know we have family, friends, pets that love to be with us, but when we're conducting the business, let's make sure that we create an environment to do so. Dress appropriately for the meeting. Business meeting rules still apply, Link Sisters. Please come prepared and dress professionally. Body language is critical. It is a way of communicating how you're feeling during the meeting. Please be mindful of crossing your arms or resting your face with your hand. Please be conscious of that. You're giving a message to the host. Do maintain eye contact by looking straight into the camera on your laptop or your mobile device. Your face should be eye level so they can see exactly what you're saying, what your beautiful face looks like, and can understand and hear what you're trying to say. If you need to cough or sneeze, just do it away from the lens. You just want to make sure, again, the communication of how you are healthy and operating in your environment is important. And last but not least, avoid eating and drinking and gum chewing and yawning, slouching, and overt body touching. Remember, we see you. And that is our tips for tonight. Link, Aurelia, and I would like to personally thank the entire committee. We have a wonderful group of technology and committee members and communication members, and we just want to first thank all the presenters that were on the call tonight. Link Leslie Horton Campbell from Greater New York Chapter, Link Katura Figuera from the Long Island Chapter, Link Pamela True Williams from the Patuxent River Chapter, Link Kristen Barr from the Annapolis Chapter. We also have additional members. Jennifer Scott from the Long Island Chapter is on the Communications Committee, and Link Janine Taylor is on the Greater Queens Chapter is on the Technology Committee. So we just want to thank everyone for a job well done. We really appreciate all the effort that you put into making our first webinar wonderful. Thank you so much. Link Aurelia. You're mute. Let me get you off mute. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Link Sisters. We're going to entertain questions. I'm going to start from the top of the box and try to move through the questions sort of quickly. We have a question about recommendations for a voting platform. Zoom does not allow members on the phone to vote. That is true. There is a webinar that we did on elections that offers recommendations for voting, and that presentation can be found on our YouTube site, and we'll send out the link to those documents. Let's see the next question. Is the EA website different from the Link National members only portal? Yes. The members only portal on the Eastern area website is different from our national members only site. And I did see as well that a number of you engaged and created your members only platform profile while we were on the call. So kudos to all of you who were very proactive. The question, will the presentation be available for download? Yes, it will. The video will be made available, and we will make the presentation available to you as well. Here's a question for my sisters. In your opinion, what is the best way to use Facebook? Do you recommend using it for campaigns, for example, focusing on Census 2020, or using it to post FAST and committee activities, events, or all of the above? Some of my social media sisters.
We would say definitely all of the above. I think one of the things that is really important for social media is to understand that it's really about getting your community involved. It's good to have Link Sisters, other chapters, different organizations come to your events, but it's really about engaging with the community. So anytime you have the opportunity to highlight what you're doing, we would suggest that. And then also for anything that has to do with any type of campaign, you can use it for Facebook use Facebook for that as well. So we would say all of the above.
Thank you. The next question.
I was just going to add to that, and an added bonus is just the engagement with the community, and it also will sometimes attract partners, and that's a way to increase partnership in the community.
Okay, thank you, Link Pam. Next question, when you do social media posts, do you also design them?
This is Link Pam. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you. Let's see the next question. Can you share the presentation? We will. Thank you for the kudos. Very informative. All right, here we are. Another question. Regarding the dual posting for IG and Facebook, do you have to have a Facebook account to perform this function? Currently, I do not have a Facebook account and was told in order to post edit, I need one. Are there any suggestions to resolve this issue?
Yeah, to do the option of toggling between Instagram and Facebook, you do need a Facebook account as well as an Instagram account where they are connected together via the same email account. So that's why in one of the best practices, we talked about having a chapter email account to connect to your social media platforms. But if you have any questions about that, like directly, you can reach out to us and we can help you for your particular case.
Thank you. Leah, on IG, it lists 2 Eastern area hashtags. Should we not follow one of them?
There's 2 Eastern area hashtags. Our Eastern area hashtags was hashtag EA Links Inc. and Embrace and Cultivate. You should use as many. If we can go back to that slide, we have a list of standard ones. So it's EA Links Inc., Embrace and Cultivate, EA Proud, Links on the Move. So we're asking when you post to post them all because we get the metrics on those. So we would like you, if you can, when you're doing your chapter posts, to include those, as well as your own personal chapter hashtags.
And Link Sisters, please note the handles, the Eastern area handles that are listed on the following tag. Those are the official sites of the Eastern area. I think that might have been the question. All right. Is the YouTube the national or the Eastern area? It is the Eastern area YouTube. We have an Eastern area YouTube page. The question, Link Kristen, how do you upload a photo on the members only website? Link Kristen, you're muted.
I unmuted her.
My apologies. There is additional functionality within the members only area to create a profile where you can upload a picture as well as other descriptive information about yourself and communicate with other members to create sort of like your own social media functionality within the members only site. That is something we'll look into as we continue to enhance. The first area that we're working on is really building out the document library. And we can definitely publish those instructions to everyone and how to create a profile on the members only site as well.
Link, really, I just want to go back. I know our time is 9:15 and we're going to stick to time. I thought you said hashtags. I just want to be clear. The official Eastern area, as you can, it's hard to see on this, but we will send it out, the pack, is Eastern area links. Has the logo, has Madam Area Director's photo. There is another Eastern area Facebook page out there. However, please follow the one that has Madam Area Director's photo on it. That is the official one for this administration. And it's the @Eastern area links for Instagram, and for Facebook is Eastern area of the Links Incorporated. But the key is, if you look for Madam Area Director's photo, you'll know you're on the right one. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that you just answered. YouTube channel. All right, Link Sisters, thank you for joining us. I believe we have reached the end of our questions. And we thank you for joining. This was great. You all have been very engaged. We still have several people on the call. That is a kudos to all of you, my Link Sisters. As stated previously, the video of the webinar will be made available to you, and also the slides. So we thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. And you will also receive a follow-up survey where you can give us some feedback on the presentation and also enter comments as to whether or not you think that we should continue with these type of webinars. Thank you all, sisters. Stay safe and have a good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.